All right, Crystal, back at it again.
For another one.
Episode numero 2.
I know. Can you believe we made it to a second episode?
I know. I didn't think we were going to get past the first. So I had to tell you something that I saw on Instagram.
Okay.
And I just couldn't stop laughing about it. I thought that you would understand me, okay? I saw this thing on Instagram. It was like a post. It's supposed to be, I'm assuming, like motivational, right?
Right.
It said something like, being broke is hard and saving is hard. Pick your struggle.
Oh my
being
gosh.
healthy is hard, but being overweight is hard. Pick your struggle.
Right.
Or something like that.
Okay,
Choose your hard.
Yeah,
or
I
something.
get the choose the hard.
Okay.
That makes sense.
I don't know. I just wasn't a fan of that post.
Okay.
I thought that post was a version of almost like mom shaming and like fat shaming and broke shaming, but like undercover.
Okay. Oh, like a backhanded slap.
A backhanded slap.
A backhanded compliment.
No, it wasn't a compliment. It was a slap. I was reading it and I'm like, absolutely. I understand.
I mean, they're not wrong,
Yeah.
right? It's like they're not wrong.
But like, I feel like I saw that the one that said, being healthy is hard, but being overweight is hard too. Like, choose your struggle
Right,
or whatever. Yeah. And I sat there and unfortunately, my brain is not programmed like normal people. And I was like, I don't want to be healthy. I'd rather choose to be mad at myself.
I'd rather struggle about my weight and eat what I want.
Exactly. Like, let me eat what I want. Let me eat what I want and be unhappy than to be upset
I
that
choose
I'm
to
not.
be sad.
I choose sadness.
I choose sadness. If it means I get pizza, I choose sadness.
Absolutely. If sadness comes with burgers, fries, pizzas, milkshakes, I'll take it. Any day.
And then, you know what, just top that with like a side dose of scrolling on Instagram and seeing these moms with perfect bodies post baby.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And you're just like,
Good for you, but like not my journey.
I was going to say not good for you, but I guess it's going to come off as shaming, but I'm so sick of it.
No, I think it's great. I think that if you
bounce back, wonderful.
not even bounce
Good
back,
for
I just
you.
think it takes a lot of, self-discipline to lose, the baby
No,
weight.
I'm not talking about people who have the self-discipline.
I mean, people that, like, the genetics are just on their side.
The genetics are just so perfect that they don't even look like they had a baby. And then they're the first ones to be like, I'm so sorry, guys. I have like the diet of a toddler.
Oh yeah, that actually really upsets me.
It's like
too.
you can
I get
say,
it.
okay, here's the thing. Let's just be real, right? Like you can say things like that because you're skinny.
Yeah, I agree.
Because if
I said that,
a big girl said, you guys, I have a toddler.
it's like no shit. No wonder. Now we know.
We could tell.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's not cute.
Yeah, absolutely. It
If
doesn't
you're
have the same
overweight.
it doesn't have the same relatable sense to it, right?
Yeah, if you're a chubby bunny over here, it's not so cute.
Chubby bunny.
Like honestly, though, that's 100% true, and that's how I feel all the time. And so for those that don't know, I actually recently lost like 33 pounds. So I understand the self-discipline it takes to lose that weight.
And here's the thing, and if you are disciplined to do it and you want to lose the weight, like we all do, right? Like not saying that we never would, but like that's wonderful. And thank you for being honest about it. We have a cousin who lost a ton of weight.
Yeah.
And she has 2 kids and she looks freaking fabulous now. She is never shy about the fact that she had to work really hard for it.
And
you know what I mean?
But I think she's really good at like also letting others know, and to us too, when we talk to her, she's very, very honest about it. Like, I fall off the wagon and I had a really bad week of eating, and you know what, I'm going to start my meal prep again, and then she gets back at it.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
honestly, that's kind of where I'm at now. I'm at the point where it's like, it was really hard losing the weight that I've lost so far, and I still want to lose more.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm still on that journey, but at the same time, I don't know. I feel like it's okay to have a cheat meal a little bit more than every now and then.
Or even
it may slow down my progress,
it's also
and
okay
I understand
to learn to be
that.
okay with your body. Like, I'm going to be really frank. Like, I am nowhere near the weight I was when I first got married. Like, definitely not. But I think I've told you this before, that I'm not mad at the way my body looks after having 2 kids. Yeah, I would love to lose weight, and I don't look the way I used to look. Like, I'm not at the weight that I would, like, it's optimal for my height. I'm not mad at the way my body looks.
And something I think people should know, people who don't know us in real life, is you were always extremely thin.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Even as a child.
Yeah. Oh, like a bird.
Always super thin. So I feel like you can speak on
the
behalf
weight gain
of
after
the skinny girls.
Exactly. On behalf of the city girls who didn't get so skinny after having babies.
Yeah.
But I'm not I know society kind of conditions us to either look at women who bounce back effortlessly and be jealous of them. And also the women who don't and have lost the body. Not just the girls who've always been big and then remain big, but girls who have gotten big. we're almost like trained to like, you need to bounce back or you need to hate your body. And I honestly do not hate the way my body looks. Like the way my stomach looks, the way stretch marks and all, it does not bug me.
Yeah, I agree. All the mamas out there who are struggling with body image, especially if you just had a baby. I know Crystal just had her baby, 7 months ago? Mm-hmm. Girl, you do you. Your body is able to do such amazing things. Like, if you really think about everything your body's doing,
oh my God,
creating food for your child, being able to provide for your child through pregnancy and after, it's amazing. It is phenomenal what our bodies can do. Give yourself a break. You deserve it.
Exactly.
But you know what? We're not here to promote being unhealthy either. Yeah. Absolutely not. Like I said, I have been on this health kick because I do want to lose weight and get healthier for my kids and for myself. And I think that if you choose to go the route that I am, where I am eating healthy about 80% of the time, but the 20% that I'm not going to feel guilty about it. And you know what? You shouldn't either.
Yeah.
As long as you have your end goals in mind, but you also are realistic and realize, hey, I'm going to have this cheat meal, but it's going to put me behind a little bit.
Yeah.
Or
even just be like, diet. You know what? I want to lose weight and I want to get to a healthier place or feel a little bit better about myself, but understand that I'm never going to look the way I once did pre-kids. And your body changes. I notice I'm much more square now. And I was always kind of a square girl, yeah, but my hips are super square. But that's the thing. Like, there are certain things I can't change. I breastfed. I'm still breastfeeding both my kids. Or I don't breastfeed Ben, but you know what I mean. And obviously, my boobs are never going to look the same.
Yeah. You had great boobs before.
Oh, my God. I have fantastic
boobs. I know.
You and I will really toot my own horn, beep, beep about that.
Yeah, you did.
I've had, like, people come up to me before asking if they were fake. But they no longer ask me that, so don't worry.
Yeah, I 100% understand the struggle. I was never the thin person. I always kind of struggled with, I always fluctuated greatly in weight. And when I say by fluctuate, I mean up 20 pounds here, down 20 pounds there. Like, it was never just a few pounds here and there. I always fluctuated. And so for me to fluctuate now isn't out of the norm for me, but I do realize as I get older, it is harder to go back down than it ever has been, which I'm sure is totally normal. I'm almost 28. But yeah, I really wanted just to touch on that.
It's funny you say you're 28 because to me, like, I don't know if other people feel this way, but your siblings stop aging at a certain age. So in my mind, you're always 24.
See, for me, it's different because you were kind of like that party girl early on.
Yeah.
And you're like you did a 180 when you when you got married and became a mom. Like, you are not that person at all.
Not at all.
So for me, I see like, there's no way you're only like 29. I feel like you're 35.
Wow.
But speaking of Instagram, though, we posted on our personal Instagrams right before we filmed our first episode, asking you guys, like, just to ask us questions and ideas for new episodes and stuff. And one of the biggest things we saw on there were asking for tips. Yes. A bunch of tips on, like, how do you handle this? What advice can you give me? And so we decided to do a little tip of the week.
Yeah,
so
this might be a new segment, tip of the week. So
do you want to give them the first one?
Sure thing. Button-up onesies. Don't bother. They're pieces of shit. Your baby wakes up in the middle of the night and you need to change that baby's diaper. Don't do it. Shout out to my friend Alejandra. The first thing she ever gave me was as soon as I had my first son, she gave me these nightgowns. They're like essentially nightgowns and they have like opening at the bottom.
I love those.
Literally pull that baby's pants up, pull that dress up or whatever, change that baby's diaper, put that baby right back to sleep.
Especially when you're exhausted in the middle of the night.
Heck yeah. And you have to change their diapers that often, right? They're not like sleeping through the night where they wear one diaper. You pull that thing up. You don't even have to unzip, untie, do nothing. Just pull those up. Don't waste your time doing anything else. I promise you it's not freaking worth it.
I know they're cute, guys, but don't do it.
Not if you want sleep. Not if you want even just those extra 5 minutes of sleep.
Yeah.
Last thing is, what works for me is putting my children's clothes out for the next day the night before so I'm not struggling the day of to find them. And to clean the house at night because it feels so good to wake up to a clean house in the morning.
There really is something to that because there's nothing worse than waking up in the morning knowing you already have like a packed full day and having to start the day off by cleaning the house. I hate that.
Oh, I hate waking up to dirty dishes.
You know what helps us out and I'm sure may help some other people out? I do this thing called Power Hour before bed. And we usually do it the hour before the kids are about to go to bed. My husband and I will do it together. But if it's night that the kids need baths, he'll do bath time while I do Power Hour. And then we'll meet up. And usually we're done around the same time. Usually it doesn't even take the full hour. It's like a power 20 to 40 minutes. Depends on how bad the house it got.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, there's nothing better than putting your kids to bed at night. Your house is clean. Dishes are done. You put in a load of laundry. And you get to sit on the couch, watch Netflix with your husband.
Absolutely.
Or Netflix with yourself, get you some wine, and just do nothing.
If you do that the night before, circling right back to pick your struggle. I don't want to struggle with that in the morning. That is not what I want to struggle the day with.
I agree. I love that.
Well, we all got to pick our struggles, right? Because we can't do it all. It's impossible. Don't try to force yourself to do it all.
Self-care.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about
We
self-care.
hear about self-care all the time. I can almost guarantee you, if you were talking to another mom, and we do this to other moms, I know I do it, I'm guilty of it.
Absolutely.
If you're talking to another mom and kind of just like venting your struggles, what's the first thing they're going to tell you?
Tell you to do some self-care.
Don't forget about yourself.
And here's the thing. Self-care isn't selfish, but it's goddamn expensive.
I had a week last week where my husband is gone, and he's been gone for about, almost 8 weeks.
Yeah. 'Cause he's almost close to coming home, I think.
Yeah, and so I've been kind of really struggling with kind of managing everything, and I kind of just let it vent out. I kind of touched on this last week too. And the one thing that everyone always tells me is, you need a day for yourself. You need this for yourself. And I just keep thinking, like, that sounds great in theory. Mm-hmm. But, like, I have to pay $16 an hour to a babysitter to watch my kids while I go do my self-care stuff.
And that doesn't include the gas to get there. That doesn't include if you're getting your nails done, you're getting your hair done. And like, same. I don't trust anybody with my kids. The only person that I think I've left my kids with at this point is my mother-in-law. And she runs her own business. So I have to work around her schedule if there is like something I need to get done and she has to watch my kids for me, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not super feasible.
It's not. It's a lot more expensive than people think. And not just that, but for me personally, I love being a stay-at-home mom. I really do. But I also work. Now, my work is not something where I'm home all the time. I do have to leave a little bit here and there. Very part-time, the amount of time I'm leaving. But I am able to work from home for the most part.
Right, like your editing and stuff.
Yes, editing and all that is done at home, but my shooting is done obviously outside the house. Now, that means, especially right now with Ethan being gone, my kids are with the sitter a lot. Like, way more than I'm comfortable with, to be honest with you. And for me to get a sitter again, just to have a self-care day, I mean, I'm getting to a point now with photography where I'm almost gone more than I am home. With drive time and everything. And it's starting to bug me because the point of me finding some type of job like this was so I can be home with my kids. And if my kids are with the sitter 20 hours a week, like, it kind of sucks.
Yeah, exactly. The whole point was to find some sort of income that you could do from home.
Yeah. And so the idea of leaving my kids again just so I can go and get my nails done or my feet done or just to go and do anything, to me, it's just kind of like, I don't know. It's just not realistic for me, which kind of brings me to this point. Somebody told me to get a babysitter to go grocery shopping, which sometimes I do. I'll know I have a photo shoot and I'll ask the babysitter to stay an extra hour so I can go run to the store real quick.
Right.
It's a lot easier to get errands done without the kids. But is that self-care?
Oh, my
Is that
God.
what moms have come down to?
This is such a hot button topic, right? Like, at first it was the revolutionary, like, moms need self-care. Dad, stop being so selfish and start helping your partner out. Okay, we got that. But now it's like self-care. I mean, we're progressing, right? We got to be thankful for the progress that we've had. But at the same time, there is this whole thing, this hot button topic right now about watching the kids so your wife could take a shower is not self-care. Self-care is not going to the grocery store.
Basic human needs is not self-care.
Letting her go to the bathroom by yourself is not self-care.
Yeah, like when a man comes home and he takes a shower, do we consider that self-care?
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Exactly. And what's interesting, right? We've all been pre-programmed with the societal like norms of what we do and what we're not supposed to do, right? I last week got a little sick and I was just not feeling that. I mean, I think you guys have the sniffles too, right?
Yeah, we
So
did.
it's the cold, it's going around, everybody's getting it. And there was just one day, my husband was off and he was late. I was laid out, completely laid out. And he tells me, you need to take the day, because I keep thinking, no, I got to help you with the kids. Like, there's no way, I'm still breastfeeding, yada, yada, yada. Like, I just could not get out of mom mode to get better, essentially, right? So I kept pushing the issue of like, no, I'm going to help you with the kids. Let me get breakfast done, X, Y, and Z. So then he tells me, and he makes a good point. He's like, you need to take one day to get better, because if you don't, you're going to, this thing is going to trickle out over weeks versus you just taking one day off and then getting like better and being at him the next day. So I was like, fine. I literally slept almost the entire day. I only woke up to feed Camila.
That sounds so nice, but you were sick.
But I was sick. So I said the same thing. So my husband goes back to work a couple of days after that. And I was texting him. I was like, God, I'm just so tired. I don't know why I'm feeling so exhausted. And I texted him. I said, I had a whole break last week. Like for 2 days straight, I was in bed and stuff. Like, and then he texted me back. He goes, you were sick. That wasn't a break.
Yeah, that's not a break.
And I was like, oh my God, you're fucking right. What am I over here thinking? Like, I enjoy going to the grocery store by myself. That is like currently my form of self-care. not going with the kids to the grocery store. But at some point, I would love to go. I mean, I get my eyebrows done every month. And shout out to Jessica because, oh my God, I talk her ear off when I go. But it's like, that costs me money.
Is errands considered self-care?
God, no, it isn't. At this point, it feels like self-care because doing it with the kids is so freaking hard. So when you get to do it without the kids, it feels great. But no, if I end up going to get groceries, I always end up making a trip to Target, and Target is my self-care.
Yeah, Target is considered self-care.
Absolutely. Starbucks by yourself is self-care. That stuff costs money. For me to go to Target by myself, knowing damn well I don't need anything, walking out, spending $400 freaking bucks, like, yeah, that's an expensive self-care.
Yeah, and that's where I'm kind of getting at too, is like everyday moms who maybe are, most stay-at-home moms are living off one income. And even if you're a working mom, like self-care is so important too. But at the same time, it's like, for them, it's a different struggle, right? Mm-hmm. You're at work all the time. You want to spend time with your kids. And is it really worth it to go out and, be away from the kids a little bit longer when you've been gone from them all day? It probably is. But do you want to? Probably not.
Yeah, totally.
So self-care is not black and white. It is something that you need to find what financially can work for your family.
Absolutely.
What can you do that's self-care that's not errands, that's not... Just being without the kids is not considered self-care.
Oh, absolutely.
No, it's not. Because
showering by yourself is not self-care.
Same.
Like if you have hobbies outside of your kids.
Yes.
For instance,
hobbies.
I have a girlfriend who loves to craft. She's turned her craft into a business. But in that case, right, being able to craft by yourself without even if you're still at home, but without the kids up in your business because your husband maybe took them out, that's self-care. It's sometimes like I love at night when I sew, I'm making Camila little bows. That to me is a form of self-care. But for me, it's like, it's what economically makes best because I have a ton of stuff at home that I can sew, right? No one wants, I know everybody pushes you and says, you can't pour from an empty cup, mama. Like you have to take care of yourself, but no one chooses to pour from an empty cup.
Absolutely.
We're not choosing to do this, but we're going to listen to this Live in California and this state is expensive.
What did that meme say that we were talking about earlier?
Oh, about how, it says something along the lines of like, no one chooses to pour from an empty cup. Stop pushing that on me. I'm trying my best. And you're just, when you push a mom to do things that she may necessarily not be able to afford to do, or if we even afford just the time, not even necessarily like monetarily, but you're also just adding one more thing on her to-do list.
You know what? That's exactly what it is. That is exactly what it is. Because sometimes planning a day where you can practice like self-care and maybe go shopping or go get your nails done, your hair done, whatever. Sometimes the planning of that is exhausting. Making sure you have a babysitter, making sure financially it won't break the bank, making sure that the kids' schedules aren't wrapped up and that you're not, even if you can find like an hour, is it really worth squeezing it in that time frame?
Exactly.
Sometimes it just can be more hassle than anything. I'm sure there's things that we can do that are not as, complicated to plan. And we'll get into that too. But I do believe that people don't realize that it's another thing you got to add into your really busy schedule.
No, absolutely. Because it's like an errand.
It is.
Like, got to perform self-care because if not, I'm going to be pouring from an empty cup.
Yeah, a lot of people will tell me like, oh my God, your plate is so full. You need to take a day for yourself. And my first thing, honestly, is I'll tell them like, oh, I wish I could, but I got a lot going on. And I just always feel like pestered about it.
Yeah.
From family, from friends. And I know that the intentions are there and I appreciate the good intentions, but I don't think people realize that that is just unrealistic. And it's okay to not have the motivation for it. And I'm sorry, but I understand we need to take care of ourselves and I'm 100% advocate for it.
Sometimes there just ain't no time for that.
Exactly. It's just, I don't want to deal with it.
I feel like part of the struggle here or part of the way that, because like it's a struggle in so many ways, right? It's like the intentions are there by saying you should take care of yourself, but you're not willing to help me do that, right? Mm-hmm. So here's the thing. If you normalize that taking some time for yourself is not a selfish thing, a mom will be more inclined to ask for it, for the help to do that, when she's ready to do it, not just when you're telling her, okay, I have the day off today. You need to go do like whatever you need to go do today. You have to reach that point where you're like, you know what? Today I just need like the morning to myself. I need to go have breakfast by myself. Be able to call somebody up and then be like, hey, can you watch my kids for a few hours while I go eat breakfast? That would make me feel much more recharged than having someone like say, okay, well, it's about time you need to do this. So you need to do it now and hire a babysitter. Like there's just, I'm going to be worried about paying the babysitter. I'm worried about how much and what is my kid doing? And I can't. Like, it's just... And especially, I feel like for me right now, specifically, it's a little more difficult because other than my mother-in-law, no one else watches my kids, right? I don't leave them with babysitters. And a big reason for that is because my son is still pre-verbal. So Julio and I have talked about that, about how we're not really comfortable leaving him with sitters until he's able to vocalize, like if something happens or like, So for me, it's like I'm riding that train and he's still not talking that much. So it's like I don't have much options, So what do you do?
I agree because it helps a lot having Annabelle be a little bit older and tell me when something's going on. It is so helpful. She's one of those kids that just kind of like wants to tell you every little detail about her day.
Yeah, she's totally
so she'll tell me everything. And that definitely eases my mind when I leave her with the sitter, even though it's not easy.
No, but I think it helps also, though, if your kids can express to you whether they like somebody and would like them to return or not.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. It makes it a little bit like when we have a sitter and she loves her and she's constantly like, Mom, I want, Miss, so-and-so to come back. It makes my mind at ease knowing that she wants her to come back and wants her to come and play and whatnot. But there's so much stigma around self-care and moms who don't take advantage of self-care and whatnot. And it's not as easy as it seems, guys. It is a lot more complicated than just taking time for yourself. But I think to throw a positive spin on this, there are things that I found so helpful for myself that are considered self-care, I guess.
Okay.
That have really helped. For example, I have recently gotten into skincare. And
you still haven't sent. I've been asking for freaking weeks to send me your routine.
You can take a picture of all my stuff.
That's what I'm gonna do before I leave today.
Sorry, I'm the worst texter and everything.
I am the worst. So you have to constantly remind me, or else I'm gonna forget.
So I found that after I put my kids to bed, I'll sit there and I'll wash my face and just take my time doing it, and it really just puts me in this place where I just feel so calm and I feel so taken care of. I guess I don't know. It just feels great. I also recently started waking up just a little bit earlier to do my hair in the morning.
Oh, let me tell you, for the day.
I was never that type of person to wake up early to do my hair or blow dry. I never blow dried my hair. But now I don't leave the house with my hair wet anymore. I just can't. I really appreciate doing my hair in the morning because you know what? That time you're spending and the way you feel after.
Nothing can put a price on the way you feel when you get a little done.
I feel like I can take on anything when I feel good. You know what?
During the pandemic, since nothing was open, I was not able to get my eyebrows done. So my eyebrows were a hot mess. And I remember telling Julio, I had reached my point where I was like, I need to get out of this house and I need to do something that's just for me and to talk to another human being that's not just my sister and you. So I had found this girl that I've been following on Instagram for forever. And I saw that she opened up her own wax business. So I was like, I'm going to go there, right? So I go, God bless her heart. She sat there and listened to me ramble each time I go get my eyebrows done. But his and her waxing in Los Alamitos, she sat there and she listened to me talk. And I'm just sitting here rambling, talking to her because she's just so sweet. And then when she left my eyebrows, dude, she left them we're way outdated here, but I'm going to say Falique, so
you
put
are
together.
So old.
I'm such an old. But anyways, it looked good. And it
somebody
pushed me to put on makeup that day.
Oh, I remember this.
Yeah, I remember. And I was like, damn. And I was feeling myself that day.
I honestly think that the best form of self-care is honestly the simplest.
Oh, absolutely.
It doesn't have to be this extravagant thing.
Stay at the spa all day
yeah,
long.
I mean, that sounds nice.
Let's just be honest. All of us make fun and we all joke about our kids and being away from our kids. But honestly, we can't stand being more than a few hours away from them.
Absolutely.
It's just the truth. I'd rather suffer a little bit and deal with the mom and just be near them.
I think it's because you realize, especially now with Annabelle getting older. So for those who don't know, Annabelle is my daughter. And she is 4.5, and she's the oldest of all the grandkids. Yeah. And she's pretty much the first baby in all of the friend groups that we have. I was the first one to have a baby, and it's crazy to see how big she is now. She is a big kid. She's not a toddler anymore, it feels like.
No, she's a small child.
And then you think about leaving them for even just those few hours, and it just sucks so bad because it's you blink. When people say, oh my God, don't blink, or you're going to miss it all. I always thought it was BS, but I think about it now, I'm like, no. You cannot blink.
No.
You miss it all.
So freaking fast. Yeah. I have a 2-year-old.
I know.
I feel like I was just pregnant with Camila, and she's about to be 8 months next week.
I feel like I was just there in the delivery room with you.
This is one of those things where we tell you, it's you find your form of self-care. Even if that means, you know what, honey, you're home from work. I need to decompress now.
So Crystal, what else would you do as self-care besides getting your eyebrows done?
I would say another thing, if your kids can withstand it. My kids used to do this. Ben not so much. He can't stand me in the car right now. But I saw this from another lady and it works. you're having one of those survival mode days and you just like need a fucking break and you have no break coming anytime soon because your husband or whoever's not coming home anytime soon, you put those kids in the car because kids love falling asleep in the car, and you give them iPads, you give them color books, whatever they like, and you just drive for like an hour.
I love that.
And just listen to something, like whatever you need to do, like music, get some Starbucks, get some food, like eat by yourself, do that. That way, it's the only way you could still do it with your kids around, and just drive around and your kids will fall asleep. Mm-hmm. It's the best way to get a little break and get out of the house, especially with all this pandemic stuff going on, not being able to get out of the house.
I think that I'll leave this part of it off with the best tip or trick I can give you. Now, I understand this may be, I don't want to say controversial because I don't see it being controversial, but how can people think that it's not possible? Mm-hmm. But since I had Annabelle, since the moment she was born, I have been a stickler with the schedule.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Like, my kids are in bed by 7:45, 8 o'clock if we're being a little crazy.
Yeah.
We don't go to bed late. And yes, I do it because I believe in structure and I believe in a kid needs a schedule and whatnot. And it helps me, throughout the day.
Your own sanity.
But Crystal,
like, people think it's crazy that Camila goes to bed at 6 o'clock every night.
It's not.
And I'm like, no, it's not, because they still need to sleep that much, which is something that if you ask any pediatrician, they'll tell you a girl her age or a baby her age should be sleeping anywhere from 14 to 18 hours a day still. But I need to know what time my kids are going to bed.
I need to know what time I'm clocking out.
Absolutely. I cannot live not knowing every day. I need to know what time these kids are going to bed, so I know either I'm going to sit down or I'm going to finally be able to eat, or, I'm going to finish watching that movie or that show that I didn't get to finish watching. And routine is everything. And yes, routine kind of sucks sometimes because you see other moms and they're able to take their kids out and stay at a party until 11 o'clock.
Yeah,
and I'm like, how do you keep your kid up? But at the same time,
a lot of people think it's unrealistic because I know a lot of kids who go to bed at 11, 12 o'clock at night.
You can't do that.
I can't do that because when I am not a night owl at all.
No, I'm not either. I'm an early riser.
Yeah. And so I look at it and I'm just like, damn, so you don't clock out until ever. Because when they go to bed, you go to bed.
And here's the thing, too. I don't know, right? I can only say this from a standpoint of I have been a working mom and I've been a stay-at-home mom. And I will say that it is difficult. I understand, too, the working moms, with the schedules. It's hard if the person you're leaving them with isn't keeping them on a schedule.
Oh, my God, yes.
It's really, really difficult to make sure that they go to bed on time because their naps may be thrown off. And, if you throw up the nap, you're throwing off the time to go to bed. Yeah. So it's one of those things you have to find what works for you, but I will say routine 100% is a form of self-care.
Yes.
Get them on a routine.
I wouldn't say it's a form of self-care, but it's needed for self-care.
It's needed for self-care. It's a prerequisite.
It's a prereq. Self-care is expensive. So let's stop pushing moms. Let's stop making them feel guilty or that they're not taking care of themselves, because we are. I promise you we are. We're doing our best. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Our self-care may not look like your self-care.
Absolutely. Take your wins where you can, ladies. Yeah. Well, speaking of wins... we have some. So before we started the first episode, like Bianca said, we had some questions. So we figured we'll have this last tea segment, right? We have our tea time now. Ooh. It could be on popular opinions, but this week it's going to be burning questions.
Love it.
So we will ask the questions. Ask.
She got all country on us.
America.
No, Animal goes, I live in America.
We're going to ask these questions, but we're not going to go into crazy detail.
Yeah, these are going to be quick little...
These are just going to be round questions.
And feel free to ask us any questions on our Instagram, because we'll answer them, I think, at the end of every episode.
Okay. So the first question I think everybody wants to know is, do you co-sleep?
I'm going to let you answer it first, actually.
Okay. So yes and no. So obviously Camila doesn't sleep with us. She sleeps in her own bed in her own room. And with Benjamin, though, we co-slept from maybe
you guys co-slept for a while, I feel like.
Oh, yeah, for a long time. I'd probably say from the time he was 13 months, and then he started sleeping in his own bed right after he turned 2.
Which he turned 2 in August.
Yeah. But now he takes naps in his own room. He goes to sleep in his own room, but he wakes up about 1 o'clock in the morning to come to our bed.
So you're kind of... Yeah, you're still co-sleeping, kind of, but you're kind of maybe like weaning him off. You know what's funny?
Weaning.
Camila's in her own crib though.
Yeah.
Right? And I feel like you would have never done that with Ben.
Oh, no.
Why the change with the second?
Because there's not enough fucking room for all of us.
That's true.
We have like Cal King and there's just not enough room, especially with the way Ben sleeps. Forget it.
He's a big boy.
We're kind of weaning him off, but we're kind of letting him do it at his own pace just because we generally enjoy co-sleeping, I think. It's like kind of weird not feeling him next to us at night. But how do I explain this without seeming like a terrible freaking mother? I love co-sleeping. I love co-sleeping with Ben. I think as crazy as he sleeps, I still enjoy it. I know Julio does too. By the time I feel like Camila's ready to sleep through the night, and by the time she gets to like where Ben is at, where she's like sleeping all night in her own bed and stuff, I feel like, oh my God, how do I say this without saying it?
Just say it.
We just don't want to co-sleep after Ben. Does that make sense?
That's fucked up.
Like, does that make sense?
That's fine. No, yeah.
Like, ideally, the dream is for him to stop co-sleeping when he's ready.
So from what I'm gathering from this is that you are co-sleeping with Ben out of habit.
Yes.
But you're trying to break that habit, and as soon as Ben's done, you don't want to have to go through this again with Camila.
Yeah, does that make sense? Fine. Yeah, does that make sense? Like, I love co-sleeping with him. I don't mind sharing my bed with him.
That makes sense.
But I don't want to do it with two kids.
Yeah. No,
like,
absolutely.
Ben's really lucky he was the first child, but after that, the rest of them are going to have to sleep in their beds. That's too much. That's why we started her in the habit from the very beginning. She's never slept with us. Like I remember then the first night we brought Ben home from the hospital, we were so excited to share a bed with him. We like put the DockATot in the middle of us, and we didn't sleep much that night, but
of course not. Yeah, like mother does.
But with Camila, it was never like that. It's like, we know that we don't want to have more than one kid in our bed. It's just, it's too crowded. Okay. Then I throw the question to you.
So we do not co-sleep. And it was only with Annabelle. When we brought her home from the hospital, we tried everything. We tried the bassinet and she hated it. She tried the rock and play and hated it. And finally, the only way she would sleep is in our bed. And so did that for like 3 to 4 months.
Okay.
And I personally was never a fan of it. It was actually Ethan who kind of pushed the co-sleeping on me.
Right.
Which I feel like usually it's the opposite. It's the mother.
Yeah. You always hear it's like people telling the wife or the mom that like, don't co-sleep because you want to share your bed with your husband. Yeah. But in this case, it was your husband who was like, you get out.
I was doing a lot of research. Yeah, that's exactly how it was. I was doing research about it. And I don't know. I just wasn't feeling it. I also never felt like I got to sleep. I never fully fell asleep because I was so worried. Mm-hmm. And so I remember we went to go eat pizza one day and we had Annabelle with us and I brought it up to Ethan. I'm like, look, can we just try it tonight? I think she was maybe 3 or 4 months at this point. Can we just try it this one night? If it's a total disaster, then I will agree with you and I will concede and she's not ready. But if it works, can we consider it? And he was like, okay, I'm up for trying it. Like if that's going to make you feel comfortable, let's do it. And so that night, Crystal, I remember waking up and it's like 7:00 in the morning, which was unheard of. I normally don't even sleep past like 6:00 without kids even. I wake Ethan up and I'm bawling my eyes out. And I'm like, babe, I can't go check on her. I thought something was wrong. I thought something had happened.
Oh, right. Because you were like dead asleep. Okay.
I was passed out. And it was 7:00 and how's the baby not up yet?
Yeah, totally.
I wake Ethan up. I'm like, you have to go. I can't do it. And I was freaking out. And he went to go check on her. She was just passed out. It was the first night she slept through the night. And besides one sleep regression, she's been in her bed and sleeping through the night ever since. Wow. I've gotten really lucky with both girls that they have slept through the night early. So with Vivian, she slept in the rock and play for, I want to say maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks. No, maybe a little bit longer, maybe like 3 weeks. She slept in the rock and play and she, normal baby waking up every couple hours because she wanted to eat. And one night she just wasn't sleeping and she was just restless. And so we decided to try it in the crib and slept through the night ever since.
Vivian's a great freaking
And Vivian
sleeper.
has never had a sleep
regression. If you know that little girl now, she's just like, it's time to go to bed. Who's putting me to bed?
Oh, yeah. She has never had a sleep regression. Like, Annabelle went through nasty 5 or 6 month sleep regression. Oh, my God, it was so bad, which we can probably talk about in another episode. But she went through a nasty sleep regression. Vivian never had a sleep regression. That girl loves her sleep just like her mom.
Can we just say that this is like one of those things on top of that? I feel like we should make an episode about things people don't tell you.
Oh my God, I
never knew sleep regression was a freaking thing. Yeah, I was like, what the hell is that?
There are so many things that, as a mom, that people don't tell you.
Yeah.
that are like, okay, like the contractions after you have the baby.
I thought I was going crazy. I remember asking my nurse, like, I'm sorry.
Wrong.
Like, I know this is going to sound ridiculous. I was really scared to ask her. So I was like, I feel stupid. I was like, but I'm still feeling contractions. She goes, oh my God, it's so normal. You're trying to breastfeed.
Yes.
Like, I was like, wait, what?
And the pain afterwards, like the recovery process. I mean, there's so much that we can talk about.
Or even like, I don't feel like I've ever been told what it felt like to give birth. I've only heard that, like, what you see in the movies are like, oh, it hurts. Or you talk about, like, how long it was.
I will say, though, that is one thing that is so hard to
relive or
verbally express to somebody.
Just feels like you got to take a shit.
It just feels like
that's all it is.
Just be done and never have kids again. That's what it feels like.
You know what's funny? It's like now I've been through childbirth twice. I mean, I know we're getting off topic, but I used to think to myself, like, people used to always talk about how, oh my God, how much it hurts. And I was an hour, like, labors with you for 36 hours and, you know, whatever. And I keep thinking to myself, like, then why do you keep having kids if it hurts that bad?
Oh, yeah.
And so, like, now I get it, because afterwards, let me tell you may be in pain at the moment. You give birth to that child. Yes, you're still in pain because the recovery sucks. But, like, damn, there's nothing like feeling kind of like Superwoman after you give birth to a baby.
And that's exactly how I felt about being in labor with Annabelle. I felt like, I know a lot of people thought it was crazy whenever I said I cannot wait to feel labor again.
Yeah.
I just felt like, especially afterwards, I was just like, I am freaking Superwoman.
Especially after like giving birth to Camila, I was like, shit, I'm such a fucking badass. You can't tell me shit. You can't tell me nothing.
I love it. All right, let's go on to question number 2. Is it okay to put your marriage first?
Interesting. So I have a few thoughts about this, and the first one beginning with context. It depends on the context.
Oh, absolutely. I think this is a very
broad question. I will say, though, it is absolutely okay to put your marriage first. It is, and I mean this in the sense of like, it is okay to take a date night with your husband and leave the kids at home.
Yes.
It is okay to say, you know what? You guys go watch a movie in the other room. Your dad and I are going to hang out. Or it might mean like whoever's going to hang out, right? I don't think it's okay to put your marriage first in the event that it hurts your children.
Absolutely. I love that.
That's the only way that I say, if it's costing the sanity of your children, no. But if everything else, yeah, because your kids are going to leave you and they're going to start their own families, and you need to make sure you still have a connection with your husband.
Yeah.
And that's something I know people feel very different about, because some people are like, as soon as you become a mom, you are basically mom first.
So I think it's okay to put your marriage first, but I agree with you that I always feel like your kids need to come first. But if your kids are doing fine, what's the harm in putting your marriage first? So
absolutely. Yeah, exactly. As long as your kids are doing fine.
I'll rattle myself a little bit. I'm the type of person that I feel my emotions deeply. And if me and Ethan are fighting over something, or we're just not in a great place, it puts me in a funk. And it puts me in like a funk to where I don't want to do anything. I just want to like, I can't deal with.
That is so true.
I just can't deal with, like, it's hard for me to be the mom I want to be when somebody who makes me so happy and I love so much and I are not doing good. If we're not doing good, it affects me mentally. And unfortunately,
and here's the thing, it's more than just like in the sense of like, you're not the mom you want to be. Yes. I think for me too, it's like, I just get a ton of anxiety about everything I do.
Yeah. And it just doesn't
I need like, I remember leading up to us having our 4-year wedding anniversary dinner where I was like, oh my God, we hadn't had a date night in months because I had just had the baby. So I was I was talking about it for weeks, so excited, I remember just like feeling like so on edge about everything. And I realized I was like, it's because we haven't spent any time together.
Yeah. And it'll happen. And I was the one telling you, like, you need to get out with your husband. Like, yeah. I think Ethan and I are very different than you guys. Like, we maybe go on date nights a little too much. We love date nights, and we do trips, just us two, every for anniversary usually.
Oh my God, I can't wait till we can get to that one.
Shit, we've been doing it since Vivian was 5 months old. Ain't no shame in my game.
I can't. I know.
Can't do it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, and this is where we differ, because absolutely. I'm just like, I cannot imagine.
But yeah, so for me, if my husband and I are not doing great, and we just kind of been bickering a lot lately, or if we had a big argument, it can put me in a funk to a point where it'll affect me being a mom, unfortunately. And I hate to admit it.
No, but that's
and
real.
It probably sounds worse than what it actually is, but it's the truth.
But we've all felt that at one point. It's not like we're all been able to like have an argument with our husband and then be like happy-go-lucky, like to our kid who's asking us for something right away. You know?
I usually will be a little more sad and a little bit more less eager to do things with them, just because I just don't feel right. Like something in my world is off and it just throws me off completely. And so that's why I'm such a big advocate for date nights. Like, if you're going to spend the money, like we're talking about self-care.
That's where I would want to
That's
spend
where you
my
spend your
money.
money.
We
okay?
went on a date night to the beach and Julio planned the whole thing. And let
yeah.
me tell you, dude, like that always feels like such a reset button.
Yeah, you need it.
And we made a promise to do it more because we can't. Well, remember especially when the COVID hit, he was working like 2 contracts at once, freaking 7 days a week working. And he works like 13-hour days, not including driving time. So it gets to the point where I'm like, I also need that break too. If you're working, I'm working. I'm with these kids all the time. Like, and then on top of that was a new mom. And oh my God, that pandemic just hit. We weren't allowed to leave the house. And obviously with his job, he needed to be at the hospital even more.
Yeah.
Then we ran all these risks of him getting sick because he worked specifically in that ICU COVID unit. I remember leading up to August, I was like, we need a freaking date night, dude.
Yeah.
Like, this is a lot.
I think what's important to note here too is, so we fought the most during quarantine, actually. Like, remember I broke down to you because I'm like, dude, we've just been bickering. And we're not really the type of couple to constantly bicker. We're the type of couple to have like a blowout every 6 months and then we're good.
Yeah,
like,
you joked with me about like, we're due for one.
Yeah, we're due for a blowout, but it was just like a lot of bickering that I wasn't used to. Oh my God, I can't. Being interrupted by toddlers is like my favorite thing.
Been happening for the last like 10 minutes.
We've been trying to record this part for forever and Vivian just keeps coming in. But yeah, we're not the type of couple to like bicker all the time. So when quarantine happened, we were bickering all the time. But mind you,
aren't a lot of couples
yeah,
were, though.
but this is interesting because we spent a lot of time together. So it wasn't a lack of time spent. It was just like a lack of time spent without the kids.
Yeah.
So just because your husband's probably home all the time and you think you're spending time together, it's a different ballgame when you're with
when you're
kids.
with your kids, it is so different because you're in mom and dad mode.
Yeah.
100%.
And ow.
And I'm pretty, I'd say like, I know this because I'm pretty lucky that with Julio's schedule, he can make his own schedule. So he can like right now where he can work like 5 days in a row and then have a week off.
Yeah.
And it still like be the same pay or whatever. So we get to spend that time together, even at minimum. If I'm like, you know what, honey, I'm in a little bit of a funk. Would you mind just working the minimum the next couple weeks? And that'll be just 3 days a week.
Well, I think that's awesome that he's able to get some time off and you guys have some time together.
Oh, definitely.
But
like
definitely
you said, it's
squeeze
mom and dad mode.
in those date nights.
Yes.
And it's probably the
needed.
best money spent on a babysitter ever. I would much rather spend the money on a babysitter going on a date night. And I'll do that willingly. Like I will be very tight budgeted.
This is not where we cheap out.
We don't cheap out with date nights.
Like we joke about Vacation Julio. My husband's really frugal all year round, but Vacation Julio comes out and it's like,
I love it.
Let's drop it like it's hot.
Yeah, I love it. And so for anybody who's actually still listening, yes, self-care is very expensive. It is. But don't cheap out on the date nights, guys.
Yeah, that's where you want to spend your money. Invest in your marriage.
Invest in your marriage.
But don't pay no freaking conference person to do it, please.
Yeah,
that Rachel Hollins lady, oh my God.
Oh God, that's a whole other
just go on date nights.
You can pay a babysitter and then find something free to do.
Oh, absolutely.
But if you have, that's for someone like us where we live far away from family. If you live close to family, take advantage.
Oh, absolutely.
You have no idea how much I would take advantage
of my
Oh my God, I wish
that.
I could. If my mother-in-law was closer too, I still would drop my kids off.
Oh, absolutely. Because those date nights are just, oh my God, Bianca.
I love it.
A reset button. Try to do one at least once a month if you can. That's the goal. I feel like for 2 adults that are really busy.
And you know what? Like, I would love to hear other people's date night ideas or just like their favorite date night because I know for us, we love to do the same thing. And even though sometimes we try to get creative, we love food so much.
Yeah.
Like just sitting at a restaurant without the kids sounds great. Like sometimes we're like, let's go do something different. They're like, fuck it, but we still want food. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And without the children to make sure that they're fed and not making noise in the restaurant. Like adults.
So if you have us on Instagram, I would love to hear your date night ideas.
Please
give us all some ideas and we'll share them.
Give us some ideas. We'd share them and we're also planning on using them. So please send them our way.
For sure.
Well, you guys, if you guys have made it through this podcast, let us know. DM us. Comment on our picture saying.
You sound like you're a sex operator. It's true. You're like
$5.99. I saw a meme that said, I don't understand why people want to get higher dominatrix. Just come into my house and I folded a towel wrong and my wife will demean you.
I love it. But yeah, leave us some ideas and things you want to hear and
hit us up on Instagram. We're always on Instagram.
Yes, please. Yeah, I love Instagram. Instagram's my baby.
Me too. Or TikTok.
Oh, hell yeah.
If you send me messages on TikTok, I will be interacting with you all day.
All day.
All right, guys. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Messy Buns and Coffee Runs.
Be sure to tune in next Monday to hear us talk all about feeling out of place in terms of motherhood.
Oh, yeah. You're not going to want to miss that one.
I am so excited about it because I feel like so many people feel this way.
They're going to resonate with that one, I feel like.
I'm excited. Well, I can't wait. We will talk to you guys next week.
All right. Peace.